the United Nations, a group of nations, had a plan, or they have a plan of a goal they want to achieve in the year 2030. And we have 5 years between now and the next 5 years, because we're in 2025 now. There's gonna be such a change, such a speed up. And the reason why we are seeing it now is because the Bible said in Revelation 12 that the devil is cast down, and you know that his time is short. The Lord showed me something in the spirit, and by now in August, we're gonna see something, things that are happening in the earth by now and next year, August 2026. It's gonna shock us, because we couldn't believe it. Right now, there's a race to fully implement the beast system. There's a literal race. You see it in Britain, you see it in Sweden, and you see they're pushing it. And because the plan that they were working towards for 2030, it's been getting resistance, but now they don't care. So they're pushing it. And we are in the time, and some things are going to happen because God showed me many things. I saw a massive judgment coming to New Orleans. I saw so much thing happening on the university campus. I saw a revival on the university campus, but I also saw darkness. And I had a vision. This was such a powerful vision, and for years I meditated this vision. And when 2017, I was on this huge carrier vessel, huge plane, very huge plane. It was going to China. While I was on the plane, I realized that there were two Americans in front of me, and on the plane there were different meetings and transactions taking place. And I remember I saw these Arabic men sitting on the plane like they were in business class. You know, the plane was designed in such a way, but they were having a meeting. But I realized that among those men were European men, American, European, those white people were on the plane. Some top officials were on the plane. And if you didn't look close, you wouldn't realize that they were not all Arabs, but they were all dressed like Arabs. And I remember the flight to China should have taken hours. And we arrived in 3.5 hours. There's a detail in the dream that I won't share because I don't want to expose the church in China. But I saw, what the word I'm looking for is I saw like a freedom, a wave of freedom coming to the church in China, but it's going to take the prayers of the saints that are in other nations. When I had this dream, I really, I meditated the dream. There are parts I just can't share, but that's what I'm saying. But as I meditated the dream, the Lord was showing me more dream, and I saw meetings taking place. I saw there's going to be a major incident with a U.S. ambassador and a German ambassador. I saw a major incident with those two ambassadors. It's going to be like, I don't want to share too much information because I'm really just trying to share as much as the Lord will allow me. But there's going to be a major incident that's going to cause international contention, because I see where Germany is no longer going to be like an ally to America in any form. So I see that coming. But the Lord was showing me many different things because the beast system that's coming in. And the Lord was showing me that within the next 5 years, Islam also has a plan. And the reason I'm bringing all this back now, because Islam, that beast is rising, that Islam that you see. And many nations have been persecuting Christians, because I want you guys to open your eyes and like see what I'm saying. England has been persecuting Christians. They don't want you to preach in the streets. They want you to do any of these things. They say you're hate speech. Right? They're accusing Christian. They're persecuting Christian. Islamic country don't even accept gay people. But we are preaching Jesus and they don't want Jesus. they want a false god, because Islam and those false religion align with Satan. So that's what they want. And Islam, and I'm really praying that America stand guard. Over the next 5 years, there's the Islamic takeover coming. There's a plan that they're trying to take over the West, and they're in the final phase of that.
Who wouldn't want to think about the future and a harmless pact to help protect humanity, all with your best interests at heart? Call me a skeptic. I think we need to dig a little deeper into this. So this pact was announced on the first official day of the UN's Summit of the Future. Perhaps it is going to make all our lives better, or perhaps it marks a significant step towards a technocratic vision of global governance. The Summit of the Future, which in itself is a weirdly broad title because there wouldn't be much demand for a summit discussing what's just happened in the past, was held at the beginning of the 79th session of the annual UN General Assembly. This summit has been in the making since at least 2022. It's following repeated calls by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to accelerate the completion of Agenda 2030. These were the goals set out by the UN in 2015. Now, Agenda 2030 basically underpins everything that is happening in towns and cities all across the world. And once you understand that, much of life, even here in the UK, begins to make perfect sense at a time when it can feel that nothing makes any bloody sense. Agenda 2030 consists of 17 sustainability goals. So that means that elected and some not so elected politicians came together and agreed that if only every government in the world would adhere to these 2030 aims, some might say instructions, we could eradicate poverty, improve health and education, reduce inequality, tackle climate change, and so on. You might recognize the branding. It is everywhere, although you probably almost never consciously noticed it. It was included in the Euros football. It appeared at the Olympics. It is in every corporate handbook and on every website. Open your new mobile phone and there it is in the apps, even though you didn't ask for it. But of course, who wouldn't want to achieve these noble aims of eradicating poverty and so on? It all sounds so lovely and benign. You would be a very brave leader to stand up at a UN assembly and say, actually, I quite like poverty and inequality, or I don't like poverty and inequality, but I do also have an obligation to make decisions which help people who voted for me in my own country too. And that, above all these lofty global aims, will be foremost in my mind. But as it is also lovely and benign, this Pact for the Future sits alongside two other complementary documents. They are the Global Digital Compact and the Declaration on Future Generations. So what exactly is this Pact for the Future? Well, according to the United Nations, it covers a wide array of themes, including peace and security, sustainable development, climate change, digital cooperation, aka clamping down on free speech, human rights, gender equality, youth and future generations. It also focuses on transforming global governance to better address these challenges. Global governance, you say? Well, I didn't vote for anyone's prime minister but my own, and I certainly don't want one that is imposed upon me from another country. Have a look at a clip from the UN General Assembly where the Pact for the Future was adopted.
The commitments embodied in the Pact and its annexes reflect the collective will of member states and must guide our actions and encourage us to promote international peace and security, invigorate implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, foster just and inclusive societies, and ensure that technologies always serve the common good of humankind. We must move forward together in a spirit of solidarity and multilateral cooperation.
As you can see, world leaders are, on the surface at least, committed